How would you describe yourself to somebody who doesn't know you?
Naughty. I don't mind saying what people are thinking. And usually 9 times out of 10, people's minds are naughty. They just are not saying it. And so I will be the one to say it. And then people tend to go, oh yeah, I was just thinking that. So my name is Leanne Beers, and I am a doctor of sexology. I specialize in helping individuals with different disabilities, whether it's physical or developmental, intellectual, showing them that they can still have an intimate relationship and sex, not just intercourse, but intimacy. I just think everybody deserves to be with somebody that they want to be with. Who doesn't like a good orgasm? Or just a good hug? People make the assumption not to date someone, not because they don't think they can go out and be active and do different things. They don't think that they're going to be able to be intimate and have sexual relations. And I'm thinking, what? Our vaginas don't just slap shut. One time I was a keynote speaker and given a talk on intimacy and sex at a rehab, and a doctor left, later talked to him, and he bluntly told me that he didn't think it was appropriate that I was there, that his patients needed to focus on getting better, that they don't need to focus on sex. And that pissed me off. Because so not true.
I think almost everyone wants to get laid. You know, if we're being honest. But I honestly, I don't really even care about that. I just want, emotional and intimate connection with somebody.
You know, we embrace ourselves when we talk about sexuality, especially when it's so taboo.
My fiance and I dated long distance for 2 years before I moved to Oklahoma. As an adult, I don't notice people staring at my arm as much. But she does, and other people around me, they're like, yeah, adults stare at you all the time. And I was like, that's wild. But they won't approach me with questions. But they feel comfortable asking her the questions, and they tell her why they're staring at my hand. And I'm just here to tell y'all, you are filthy. I mean, you're right, but you're filthy. I'm not gonna go into a lot of details, but you don't get the nickname G-Spot hand for nothing.
People want to have relationships, and that made me really look at the research, and there was a huge gap in the research with disability and sex and healthcare, and I just went from there and ended up getting my PhD in the human services and human behavior and specializing in sexology. And so prior to COVID, I started a men's class that was supposed to be about an 8 or 9 week class. And we are now going into over 2 years. Same ones. We go through 5 or 6 topics, and then I ask them, Okay, what are some things you want to learn about? And some want to go on learning more about boundaries, as others are more interested about bondage. People are getting into trouble, like legal trouble, because they are inappropriately getting too close. If you put your arm out and they put their arm out, you should not be any closer than that. They have so many questions. They're worried about their penises not being as big as what they see on a porn show. Another one that I really liked was talking about HIV. Some of them were still under the impression you could get HIV by sharing a glass of water. Furries. They had questions on furries, people who dress up in costumes. Even if they're joking, I will answer the question. If they're thinking of this stuff and curious, I need to make sure they understand that you have to really communicate with your partner.
Even before Leanne was a doctor, she was that person that would celebrate her disability and her sexuality and be okay talking about it.
Yeah, you can't say happiness without saying penis.
There's nobody in the country approaching it the way she is, that I've seen. They almost try to address sexuality with adult people with disabilities like you would start talking to like an elementary program or a middle school program. It inherently becomes very patronizing and not really about what the people want to talk about. Then Leanne comes in to do a healthy relationship class. There is a dildo in the center of the room and a condom, a real condom.
I think toys are a fantastic part of a relationship if both parties are comfortable. But using them individually helps people, especially those with disabilities, to figure out what their body will react to and what they won't react to. So toys may actually help find where their sexy parts are that may not any longer be in their genital area.
In talking about healthy relationships and sexuality, we are improving employment, housing, and transportation. And it's a very hard concept for people to understand, but without addressing loneliness and relationships, you're not addressing people's motivations for those other things.
It helps to go to a place where you're not considered taboo as far as relationships go and sexuality goes and all that good stuff, so.
I took sex ed, but none of it covered, like, what it was to be sexually active as a physically disabled person. And it's not like I was completely in the dark, obviously. I have access to the internet, and I've been an adult for years, but, it's like you get to learn things in a new way that frames things in a way that it's not like a dirty or lascivious thing to be into sex or explore your sexuality or gender. The only sexual experience physical sexual experience I've had would be, I got a hand job at a party when I was like 18. So, that's the only sexual experience I've had because, you have a hard time getting intimate with someone when you're disabled.
Maddie Howland, everyone, please put your hands together for Maddie Howland.
I gotta say, it's my first time doing drag. It came from, just thinking logistically, what do I have to do and what do I have to say to a partner if I want to engage in sex with them? You may try to engage in the act while I am still in my chair. This is very similar to trying to engage in coitus atop a piece of modern street art. It is a way of like being frank and being like, hey, I can have sex just like anyone. It's gonna be awkward and like way more work than you were expecting to do, but it can happen. You know. Option 2. We retire to your boudoir. And you attempt to remove my clothing, and I will remove yours. This will take 50 minutes of intermittent stopping and starting. At which point we might be too tired. Up until I met Leanne, I was convinced that I would have to give a serious version of that exact talk to a partner, where I would have to like explain how to move me physically and all that stuff, and do this whole thing. But I just kind of realized because of Leanne that like, no, you can just like feel things out like any normal couple, any other couple, I should say.
I often say it is not like you see in the movies where I am whisked into the bedroom with rose petals and oh, wouldn't it be wonderful? No, it is more of a, can you help me transfer? Oh, sorry, I just farted because my muscles aren't working right, and oh, can you help me slide? Nope, gotta move me a little this way. Nope, oh, nope, okay, yep, we're good right there. Okay, no, nope, gotta move the leg a little bit. Okay, that's reality. But you have to have communication, and that's what I'm trying to teach them, is the reality of it.
So in my work, you know, in independent living and advocacy, I've been to a lot of conferences around the subject, and it's not, sexuality and relationships is just not brought up. And it's talked about in spaces outside of the agenda, but it's never formally brought up.
I have some fun little stickers for you guys. Disabled people fuck too.
Oh my
Yeah, the most important thing that I've learned is sexual validation, and that's not really a skill, that's just a frame of mind, but that frame of mind has been so tough for me to learn, and I'm still learning how to, because 90% of the time, or 95% of the time, I don't feel like I'm worthy of even a relationship. So this is very she's 6 foot tall. I'll rub noses with her, or I'll rub my face on her ears, just for something to calm down my nervous system.
An individual told me once that they don't understand why they have to go to the strip clubs just to get somebody to give them a hug. And that broke my heart.
The strip club was just a place to mask the idea that I needed hugs.
I think the big takeaway for me is that there is no reason why disabled folks can't have intimate relationships with people, either sexual or romantic. And the the things that keep me from actively pursuing a romantic relationship are all social constructs that have been planted in my head by media and, other people.
When I had divorced my first husband, I was fine, just me and the kids. And I'm like, I'm totally fine with this. They are my life. Steve, I met in the Arby's parking lot. My daughter was going to her first muscular dystrophy camp. And so I was dropping her off at the bus. And Steve was the bus driver. And I went to dinner that night with a friend, and I said, I'm gonna marry that guy. Went up there to camp to get Jessica a week later and ended up chatting with them, and we have been together since. But I would say we definitely have a healthy relationship sexually. I probably want more than he does. He gets that sometimes we have to do things differently. He's not bothered by it, that I know of.
They're the healthiest, happiest, most fun, open couple that I've run into.
And maybe that's part of the reason I do what I do too, is I know it's possible. And I know there's people out there who will accept people for who they are, but a little education doesn't hurt anyone either, so.
The world as it is right now is really good at making you dislike yourself, because they tell you you're wrong for being who you are. And Leanne is one of the true allies, being like, no, you should be able to scream who you are joyously and wonderfully and not feel any fear or shame because of it.